Hi guys, so this is the agenda of this video. So we will learn what is MongoDB, why to choose MongoDB over SQL database, and we will learn some terminologies which is very important to learn MongoDB basics. So we will see how to install MongoDB in your machine, or do you really need to install MongoDB in your machine, or you can use the cloud service of MongoDB, which is Mongo Atlas. We will look into it. Then we will learn how to run Mongo shell of your machine to run your queries. So we will look into all these things. So let's get started. So first of all is what is MongoDB? As you can see here, MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database program. So MongoDB actually is a NoSQL database. So it's a database. It is unstructured data. And most of the data which we use in real time is kind of unstructured data. So in SQL, what are the disadvantages is we need to identify each and every field when we build any software initially, and it is very difficult to extend that particular schema later half. So for example, if you are building a software and you started with some basic table, some 3 or 4 field in your data in your table, then what you realize in the later part that you need another field. So it is very difficult to accommodate that in your SQL table. But as you can see, MongoDB, why it is so popular? Because we can save data in an unstructured way. So we don't need to specify all the schemas, all the field always, because it is a JSON like document structure with optional schema. If you want to give the schema, you can give the schema, but it is not rigid. So you can always extend your schema, existing schema, to any number of level, any number of nested schema. So because of that, MongoDB got a popularity in real world, huge data oriented software. So in a real world software, so what generally they do, they try to use both the SQL and NoSQL in a single software. Now we will see why to choose MongoDB for learning, why it is so important, why it is so popular. As you can see, MongoDB, there are certain advantages and disadvantages of MongoDB. So we will discuss both and what we generally do in real world programming, because I am working as a software developer. So I know in the practical scenario, when you are working on a production level application, there are certain requirements. So according to that requirement, you need to choose whether you will go with a NoSQL database or SQL database. So as I said earlier also, that we can combine those two and use them also. So that is also possibility. So as you can see here, the advantages of MongoDB is a lot. So it is performance level is very good because we are storing it unstructured data. I will show you how we are actually storing the data in MongoDB in a while. But let's first understand it is high speed and higher availability. It's easy environment and quick setup. You don't need to give the whole schema related things. You don't need to declare the whole schema, what are the data type and the each field. So it is very simple to set up, and it is also flexible. You can add any number of fields later in your while you are developing your app or while you writing your code. So it is very much flexible. So you can add your data according to the region. For example, your software is running in Asia and Europe, so you can shard your data according to the region. So for example, some data is really useful in Asia, some data is really useful in Europe. So you can shard your database location, and your database can be sharded in such a way that the people who are present in Europe can access their data from that server easily, as it is sharded. So I will explain all these things later half of this playlist. I will create a separate individual videos for these topics, sharding, scalability and all these things, but right now I am just giving you the overview. So as you can see, the technical support is very much there, documentation and if you are stuck at any place, you can directly go to Google, and most of the time you will find a solution over there. So this is kind of why we choose MongoDB over SQL for large data oriented projects. So now talk about the terminologies for MongoDB. As you can see, this is one sample collection in MongoDB which I have opened. So let me just explain you the different terminology we use in NoSQL database, which is MongoDB. So here you can see there is one term called documents. So what is documents? In SQL we have some table, and inside table each row having some different data and each column having some field and their type. So you can see similarly here in MongoDB we have the similar kind of things. So instead of table we have here collection, which here the name of the collection here is listings and reviews. So this is some sample data for Airbnb. So this is the database name, which is sample underscore Airbnb sample dataset, and this is the collection name, which is listings and reviews. So this collection having some schema which we can't see here, but it has some schema. If I click over here, you can go to here and you can see the schema, but it is not required that each and every field will be present in all the data. So as you can see here, 1000 documents is there. Documents is nothing but each row of your collection. So for example, here in document, each data is a kind of row and each field and value. So this is kind of a JSON formatted, which I have already told you that MongoDB stores this data like a JSON format. So key and value. So it's having some key and it's having some value. Value can be object, array, any kind of format. It is kind of nested object, nested array, it's kind of anything. So this is just key and value pair. So this is a JSON format. So you must have know by this time that initially we have our database name, and inside that we can have multiple collections. Right now here we have only one collection, which is this one, and it contains some documents, which here the data. This is right now more than enough to get you started. Now that we understood the terminologies for MongoDB, now we need to understand how to install MongoDB in your machine, or do you actually need to install it. So if you just open and search for MongoDB download, you can write just simply MongoDB download for according to your operating system. I am using Mac, so I am writing that. So and you can go to this link, install MongoDB Community Edition. So generally we prefer to use MongoDB Community Edition to install. So you can install these. Installation steps are pretty much simple. If you are in Mac, you can run this Xcode, select install, and you can follow these commands and it will be easily installed. I will show you another way, which is you don't need to install MongoDB in your machine. Initially, when you started learning MongoDB, it can be little bit difficult for you to understand. So for that one, you can simply open and type MongoDB Atlas. So this is a cloud provider for MongoDB where you just need to create your database on cloud, and you can easily use that with your MongoDB Compass, which I have downloaded over here. So you can download this MongoDB Compass to visually show your data in GUI, graphical user interface. To run your commands, to we will use Mongo shell to do it. I will show you in a while, but you can simply go to MongoDB Atlas. Sign up for this. I have already some account. I will just log in with that. Logged in with my Gmail account. You can also do that. It's pretty simple. Once you logged in, you will see you will not see this kind of screen when you just signed up, you can create your database. Right now the option is here, but in your case it will be somewhere in the middle. So you can simply create one project. First of all, you need to create some project, and then inside that project you need to create your database. So as you can see here, I have created MongoDB aggregation, which is the title of this playlist, MongoDB aggregation. So this is the database name, and inside this database name, once we can create that, we can connect to it. And that's another important thing here is, so let's just create one collection for you to understand. So you can add a new project, and inside that project you can create your MongoDB database. So for example, demo project. So right now don't get into all these things right now, because our main focus is to understand the database and how we can use it. Later we will talk about the sharding, security, all those things. So as you can see, our project is created and we can build a database here. So we will create that, and we will try to go with free, and we will choose the free plan. Let it be. And here you need to put your username and password. So for example, I'm giving it as root and some sample password. You need to create your user here. This is very important for you to access your database. So once you're done with this, you can right now go with this and finish. Yeah, you don't need this. Go to database. Right now they are deploying your MongoDB. So as you can see, it is under, yeah, it's done. Then one thing which you need to do here is network access. Go to network access, and you need to whitelist your, so you need to allow your access from anywhere. I will talk about this later, that you can put your server IP to access your database, but right now as we will be testing from our local machine, then we need to whitelist all the IPs, otherwise we will not get to connected to this database. So we'll go into database tab again, and then we will press connect. So here you can see there are lots of options. You can like connect with MongoDB shell, and you will get the whole process how you can connect with this. So this is pretty much simple. So let's just copy this one. Let's open. I am using item, and you can run this. Let's just give it some time to install. So once let's just check with command mongosh -- version. As you can see, our version is showing here. Let's just run this second command. It's pretty much simple. You just have to copy and paste over here, and you need to put your password, which we set over here. Now we are in our console using this shell. This is called shell. So shell is a typical command line interface using which we generally interact with our database. From the next video, we will start with create, read, update and delete operation in MongoDB. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That will really keep me motivated for this whole playlist, and subscribe to this channel. A lot of things are coming. Thank you.